then on out, for years, Jim and I worked together almost on a daily basis. The fact that he's had a stroke distresses me. And I agree wholeheartedly with that comment, Frank. He's a good man, and he's done more good, in my judgment, to help Filipino people on an individual basis, without boasting about it, than anybody I know. He's a good servant of God. This is the 5th lesson in my series of 6 on personal responsibility. To each day, the Lord allows. I'll try to finish off the series. The first one was just general. The idea that we look too much at self rather than looking at what God wants. The second had to do with the concept of immorality that was so sadly infected your people and my people, like most people in the world. The third one had to do with materialism. The fourth one had to do with growth, required by God for our good as well as for His service, to grow in the grace and knowledge of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. But today I want to look at the idea of focusing on others. If I ask you here this morning to raise your hands and answer my question, how many of you were raised in poverty? I mean real poverty. Where you might not know where your next meal is coming from. I went through that. I was raised in what's called the Great Depression. My father and my mother raised 5 boys and 1 girl. Probably the deepest poverty that existed in the United States at that time. I remember times, despite the fact that Dad had a job to pay with, we raised most of our own food, but when we had bad weather in the spring, we were in the northern part of the country, where if you had a late spring come in, your garden came in late, which meant there's a food harvest. I remember the time when me and my brothers and my sisters went to bed hungry at night. How can I remember that 80-some years ago? It's easy. We did it all much because we had to. And we were not different than any other family in the whole neighborhood. We were raised in the country. And everybody was blessed with the same degree of need that we were, relatively speaking. Despite that fact, over the years, my parents would take in children from other families when their families couldn't feed them at all. And then when the family got in better shape, the child would go back. I don't remember how many times that happened. But I remember one boy, his name was Timmy. That's all I can just remember, his name was Timmy. But he lived with us for several months. And then he was happy to go back to his family. Not that he disliked us, but he wanted to be with his family when they're friendly again. Now what I'm saying here is not to say, look at poor little old me, what I went through. But lay groundwork for the fact that I know what poverty is. I've been there, went through it. And I've seen what people, including my parents, can do despite the fact of being poor. So let's look at some of the ideas about it. The idea of focusing on food. There's a song, none of itself all the day, but Bob refused to lead it because we can't find it. It's not in any of the songbooks there. I don't know, terrific song. Checked out perfect. None of itself all the day. Or the bitter pains and sorrows of time forever be. When I said to Jesus, all of self and none of thee. Next verse changes, some of self, some of thee. Third verse is more of self and less of thee. First verse is none of self and all of thee. Now, we see often in the Old Testament and in the New, you hear people say, to God be the glory. And some say, well, why does this God in heaven want all this glory? Because it is His. It's our purpose. Ephesians 1, verse 6, verse 12, and verse 14 says 3 times, to live to the praise of His glory. That is why we are here. But the praise of His glory simply means that we live a life approved by Him. The kind of life that He had, God in the flesh, Jesus, lived when He was here walking among us. That God's glory might be praised. Now, since we're created for God's pleasure and purpose, that's Revelation 4, verse 11, God will, I've said this before here and elsewhere, He will use us if we want to be used and reward us. He will use us even if we don't want to be and punish us. But we will be used of God. There's no escaping that. And we know from Romans 14, verse 11, that when we stand before Him in judgment, every knee shall bow to Him, every tongue shall confess my name. There be no atheist in hell. And heaven. There be no atheist in hell or heaven. But by the time all of us get to our ultimate destination after physical death, we will all know and acknowledge that God is